Hey guys and girls, Adam Winch here at Defenders USA. Hey, I want to talk about something that just kind of chaps my hide. In fact, infuriates me. Yesterday in Boulder, Colorado. I understand we're in Grand Junction, Colorado currently, but Boulder's about 4 hours from here. Boulder, Colorado, yesterday we had an active shooter went into a Safeway and just decided they wanted to shoot that place up. Ended up killing 9 people, and then all in the store, and then also killed a police officer. In fact, they shot one on the way in, and then sounds like they gunned down 8 more inside the store. We had a first responder, a police officer, Officer Talley, who decided to respond to this, went to there quickly, and was also killed in this process. Ultimately, bad guy, sounds like he was either shot or hurt or something in there, and ultimately apprehended after about an hour or so within the store. Something to that effect. We don't know the full details yet, and it's still fresh. We found out the name who it is, and I don't want to name this waste of human life. Don't want to give him the notoriety of his name, but interesting name, isn't it? Anyways, I just want to talk about, I used to live right near Boulder, Colorado. In fact, I used to work in Boulder, and I've been in that grocery store many times. I know exactly where it is. I've walked those aisles. Yet evil decided to go visit that day. You know what really angers me, besides the fact that evil decided to go and just shoot up a grocery store full of innocent people? I mean, how horrid, how evil is that? You know the thing that bothers me? It sounds like there was nobody there in that store who could have taken and pulled a gun in defense of life and stopped it from happening. Now, there's multiple stats that you see around there, but generally, when you look at the stats, some of the last ones I've looked at on active shooters, once the shooting starts, generally you can count on 1 injury per second, 1 fatality every 6 seconds. Somewhere in there. It's a lot of time, right? How long do you think it's going to take for law enforcement to show up? I've been a cop. I've gone screaming off to stuff that we thought could have been an active shooter. Thank God it wasn't. Somebody I love with all my heart. One person I love probably as much or more than anybody else in the world. That wonderful person took off to an active shooter incident, was first on scene, jumped out running to the sound of the gun. Very first person within a minute or so, thinking that that police officer that I love with all my heart was going to an active shooter. Not too long ago, there was a big incident. The same police officer I love with all my heart was within a minute or so, maybe 90 seconds, of a lot of rounds going off and people being hurt or killed. You see, there's heroes across this country that'll be the first ones there. But you know how often the cop is there to save you? The deputy, the trooper, the whatever. How often are they going to actually be there to save you? As a police officer for over 10 and a half years, I can tell you right now, the vast majority of the time, the vast 99% of the time or so, the police officer is not there to save you. They're there to clean it up, take the report, follow through with the prosecution, hopefully stop the crime. But you know what? Cops are rarely there when the crime happens. Rarely. They're there after it happens. How long did it take that hero, that unfortunate Colorado police officer? How long did it take him to get there? And ultimately to die in the process trying to save the people in that store. Probably a minute, 2, 3 minutes. Whatever the stats are in active shooters, let's just take maybe 1 round, 1 injury per second, 1 fatality every 6 seconds. Let's say it's less than, let's say it's double. 1 injury every 2 or 3 or 5 seconds, 1 fatality every, I don't know, 10 or 15 or 20 seconds. Think about this in a grocery store. It's really big. People can run. They can move away. When people start hearing guns going off, multiple shots going off, they tend to start running somewhere. If that gunman had the time to kill somebody outside and then go inside and kill 8 more people, that must have been quite close quarters. If somebody comes for you and it's an active shooter incident, it's going to be in the close quarters. So however long it took, that dirt bag, that piece of human trash, was able to gun down ultimately 10 people in probably a very short time frame. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. You must be your own defender. You must be. I beg people all the time, come to Defenders USA or some of the other good training companies out there to become a highly honed, versatile defender of life. We beg it all the time. We see thousands of people go through our concealed carry course. Thousands. We see hundreds go through our defensive handgun courses, our defensive rifle courses, our defensive hand-to-hand courses, or even our tactical medical courses. Breaks my heart to think that of all those people in that store, it doesn't sound like, we may find out later, it doesn't sound like there was one person there with a gun that could have defended their own life or somebody else's. And a cop had to go in, or cops had to go in and do it. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody is coming to save you. When that day comes and they're coming for you, you are your own Savior. The saying Brent Hickmon of Haven Defense Company, or Haven Defense Gear, the guy who made my holster, he likes to say pretty often. He says something to the effect of, be the beast the wicked fear. In fact, I think he wrote something yesterday that says something to the effect of, become the righteous beast the wicked fear. I beg you, if you're a concealed carry holder, don't just get the gun. Don't go sit through some dumb little concealed carry class somewhere. Go beyond that. Get strong, defensive firearms training for the defense of life. Go learn how to use this thing and use it extremely well for the defense of life at the speeds with which things happen. 1 injury per second, 1 fatality every 6 seconds. If it happens near you, they're coming for you. And guess what? These type of weapons right here are probably not what you're going to take to the grocery store, to the bank, to your church. They're fun. We run courses for these. You should come to those. The defensive tool of America, today's era, that we can conceal away, is the concealed handgun. Please go beyond your concealed carry course. Become the highly trained, highly competent, can I even say unconsciously competent defender of life with the defensive tool of the era. Furthermore, go beyond that. Get some decent medical training. I don't care, go to a 4-hour stop the bleed class. Or come to something like what we do, our tactical medical course. I mean, when you talk about the Aurora shooter at the theater in Aurora, did you know that if somebody been there with medical training and the medical gear with them, based on everything I understand, and don't quote me on this, but everything I understand, that if somebody had some medical training in there, by the time the cops got it all cleared and medical got there, we could have probably saved about 7 or 8 people had somebody in there had some basic medical training to save victims. Get medical training. Learn to become the righteous beast the wicked fear. Go to realistic defensive firearms training through guided, competent help under the eyes of people who know what they're doing that can make you truly the defender you need to be. Somebody came to my state again. Went to a town I've lived in a store I've been to many times. I know well. And shot up 9 people and shot up a cop. And in my mind, I think, why, oh why? Could not have somebody been there like me? Or like maybe you, who's gone beyond the concealed carry permit and gotten a gun like this and become highly competent in its use, that if you had to save your life or somebody else's, you could have. We're in America. We have these rights. I beg you, concealed carry holder, carry your gun. I've read recently, I think this was last year, did you know that of all the concealed carry holders that are out there, on average, they say only about 17% of the people actually have a concealed carry permit actually carry their gun. As a police officer, it drove me crazy to think about it. Yet of all the cops I know, you know how many carry a gun off duty? Very, very few. Less than half. Probably 30% of police officers I know, deputies, troopers, law enforcement officials, only about 20, 30%, maybe 35 on a high day, actually carry their gun in defense of life. From the day I became a police officer, very day, actually before, I carried a gun everywhere I went. Shucks, if I went to check my mail down the road, I carried a gun with me. And thank God, because one time I had to pull my gun in defense of life at my own mailbox. I've had to pull this gun in defense of life 4 different times. And I'm not talking as a police officer. I'm talking off duty or as a civilian. Concealed carry holder, you're needed. And you need to get the training that is responsible training. Don't just do the state mandated thing. If your state mandates it, go through some dumb concealed carry course. We have a good one. It's a great one. But it's still just a concealed carry course. Truly become highly competent in something that's a high risk and high liability thing, which is pulling a gun in defense of life. You have 3 responsibilities. 1, you must know the law well. You must know it as well as the Johnny Cochran who's going to come after you. 2, you must be highly competent at the mechanical aspects of a gun, meaning you need to become a very competent shooter. It's high risk, high liability. This saves lives, and it happens in a very, very fast amount of time. I would argue to you, if you have to pull a gun in defense of life, from the second it ends to the second it over, you have generally 2 to 5 seconds to live, 3 to 5 seconds to live. You literally have that short amount of time frame. And going out in the desert or in the mountains or at the range somewhere with your buddies or your family on 4th of July weekend or Thanksgiving, going pew, pew, pew out there somewhere, does not make you a ninja with a gun. And just because you were in somebody's army, somebody's corps, just because you shoot Bambi sometimes and put her in the fridge, you've hunted all your life, does not make you a gun guy or gun girl. Realistic defensive firearms training. And doing so continuously to keep the skills fresh, to grow them, because this is a perishable skill, is a necessary responsibility. Therefore, one of the 3 things that you need to become is mechanically expert with this gun. It can take time and effort, but is your life worth it? Is the life of those you love worth it? So there's your first 2 things. 1, know the law well. Study it. Learn it. 2, become mechanically expert with the gun. By the way, we at Defenders USA do that. If not, I know all sorts of people out there that would love to do this. There's not a lot of great firearms trainers out there. The country's in a wash in gun trainers. But I'll tell you what, the list of those who are great is not big. Come see us. If not, give us a call, and we'll point you towards some of the best firearms trainers in the world. And I've had the fortune, or we at Defenders have had the fortune of starting to tie into and get to know and train with and train under some of the very best in the world. Please either come see us or call us so we can send you to them. 3, third thing you must do, you must prepare for the massive financial, emotional, civil, criminal, psychological, marital, familial, societal aftermaths that will come. You must prepare for the aftermath. Are you prepared for that? Do you have the stuff together for the fight after the fight? Right? The legal things that are going to come to you. That's a lot, boys and girls. That's a lot. There's a lot that goes behind it. Now, here at Defenders, we're huge advocates of firearms legal protection. By the way, if you listen to me on this and you sign up for it, please tell them Defenders USA. We'll get credit for it. They're going to pay somebody on it. I'll take the little bit they'll pay. I mean, my wife needs shoes. I'll take it. But you should get something. I'll tell you right now, I believe firearms legal protection is the very best out there. There's others. There's others. I like these for a lot of reasons. And I'm so thankful I had those type of things when I've had to pull guns in defense of life. Because if not, I could be in hawk to the tune of hundreds, if not millions of dollars if I was not prepared for that. Let me recap 3 things. If you're going to carry a gun in defense of life, you must know the law, study the law, keep it fresh. Right? 2, you must become mechanically expert with this gun. Not just shooting little holes in paper, but at fighting with a gun. That's completely different than shooting. 3, you must prepare for the massive aftermath. Because guess what? It happened in Boulder, Colorado. And those of you, because we're stationed in Colorado, some of you know that area well. I've got friends who live right there. Folks we've studied. Shucks, we just did a video, 2 videos of Richard Hess. He lives miles from that place. Oh, I wish somebody like Rick Hess had been in that store. He'd have saved life. But sooner or later, this is going to come to us all. Sooner or later, somebody within the sound of my voice or this video, it's going to come to you. You've got to go beyond the concealed carry permit. You've got to keep these skills fresh. Please seek out realistic firearms training. It's heartbreaking to me and even infuriating to some extent. Though evil did come to visit, because we can't control evil, we can control us. That there was nobody in that store that we know of at this point in time yet who happened to carry a gun in defense of life and had not built the emotional skills inside to go to the gun if they had to defend life. My friends, we do this at Defenders USA, what we do, the training we do to build defenders of life. It's right in the title, Defenders. We need all of us in the gun community to become knowledgeable defenders, skilled defenders, prepared defenders. I know this is a bit long. How dare they come to our stores, our churches, our movie theaters, our oregano festivals in Oregon, our concerts in Vegas, our churches in Texas, our grocery stores and our schools. How dare they? But if they do, because evil does that, you are your only defender. Only you. The cops want to be. Those heroes in blue and green and brown, gray, whatever color uniform they wear, they want to be there. They love you and they'll give their lives for you if they have to. But they can't be there. They can't. The vast majority of the time. You're it. You're it. Get the training. Know the law. Prepare for the aftermath. And prepare your heart to be the defender you may need to be if you so choose to. We'll talk about active shooter stuff later. But I just want to point that out. It came home to us. To a store I've spent time in. To an area I've lived in. It hurt my people. Colorado. It killed one of my people. A police officer. And nobody was prepared. In the store. Well, the cop was. But the cop can't be there. And even then, that cop gave his life. Ode to that officer. God bless you and your family and the fellows and sisters there at Boulder Police Department. You must protect you. Be the righteous beast that we can fear. God bless Boulder PD. And bless those victims and the families who've been there. And we want so bad to help you. Come see us. Or call us and we'll point you in the directions of the good trainers. We'll prepare you for that day if that ever unfortunately comes to you. Take care. God bless you. Train thoughtfully. Train thoughtfully.